Except one species. When the Altheron message reached Earth, the leaders of humanity did not panic. Across their cities, across their space stations, people heard the news, and their reaction was strange. While other worlds cried, humanity smiled. Not with joy, not with madness, but with something sharper. It was the smile of someone who had been waiting for this moment. Aliens watched in confusion. Reports spread that human fleets were moving, but not in panic. They were organized, precise, as if the declaration of war had been expected. While other species rushed to rebuild armies, humanity already had theirs hidden, waiting in the dark. The Galactic Council, formed long ago to protect peace, called for emergency meetings. Leaders from dozens of empires begged for human help. They expected fear, but instead they saw calm faces. The human representative stood in the center chamber, silent at first, watching the chaos of shouting voices around him. Finally he spoke. "We warned you that peace is fragile," he said. "We told you that war is the nature of the galaxy. You did not listen. For 3,000 years you lived in dreams. We lived in reality." The chamber fell silent. No one understood what he meant, not fully. But they remembered something that had been whispered for centuries. Humans were different. They had never forgotten war. While others buried their weapons, humans stored theirs. While others erased the art of strategy, humans studied it. While others trusted peace, humans trusted nothing. And now that difference was about to show. On the outer edge of human space, fleets began to gather. Ships larger than any seen in the galaxy floated like giants in the void. Their hulls carried strange designs, weapons hidden under layers of steel and light. Scouts from other empires tried to watch, but their senses failed. Human technology was not what they had known before. It was something else, something that had grown in secret. The Altheron were moving too. Their war fleets were vast, forged from ancient forges that had never gone silent. Their soldiers were bred for battle, their generals born from centuries of conquest before peace. They thought the galaxy was weak, and they were right. But they had forgotten one thing. Humans were not like the others. Stories spread quickly. Refugees fleeing Altheron attacks told of human cruisers appearing in silent formation, engines glowing faintly, weapons locked but not firing. They did not fight yet. They only watched. Their presence alone made the Altheron hesitate. Why were the humans not afraid? Why did they not rush into defense like everyone else? What were they waiting for? In dark halls and secret rooms, alien leaders whispered about humanity. Some said humans were reckless. Others said they were mad. A few believed something far worse, that humans were smiling because they already knew how this war would end. The galaxy had seen 3,000 years of peace, but peace had never been real. It was only a pause, a long breath before the storm. Now the storm had begun, and humanity stood at its center. Their smile was not comfort. It was a warning. The gathering storm, the galaxy waited for humans to act. Every species thought humanity would join them, defend them, or at least speak more words of comfort. But humanity did not comfort anyone. They moved their fleets into silence, into a shadow that stretched across space. They did not explain. They did not promise. They only prepared. Alien eyes watched carefully. Scout ships hid in asteroids, recording every movement of human vessels. They saw hundreds of ships, then thousands, and still more came, drawn from deep space docks that no one even knew existed. These ships were not like the old models the galaxy had seen before. They were heavier, sharper, built for something far greater than defense. One alien scout described them in a transmission before his ship was lost. They are not fleets. They are storms given shape. The message was cut with static, but the words spread and fear grew stronger. The Altheron, proud and ancient, mocked the fear. To them, humanity was only one more species, one more world to conquer. They laughed when they heard whispers of secret human weapons. They had conquered hundreds of civilizations in their long history. To them, humanity was nothing but another target. But the galaxy noticed something strange. The Altheron fleets, normally ruthless and fast, slowed whenever human space appeared on the map. They sent ships around it instead of through it. It was as if they too felt something they would not admit: hesitation. In human space, the skies were alive with activity. Civilians were not panicking like other worlds. They were calm, as if they had trained for this day. On Earth, families gathered supplies without fear. On Mars, colonies turned their mining lasers into weapons without hesitation. On distant moons, hidden factories awoke, releasing machines that no one had ever seen. Humanity moved as one body, as if they had practiced this for centuries, and maybe they had. The Galactic Council sent another plea. This time, they begged the human representative to share their plans. Empires were falling. Worlds were burning. The Council needed leadership, and they hoped humanity would take that role. The human delegate listened in silence. His expression was unreadable, his hands folded. When the shouting stopped, he gave a simple answer. "You want us to lead," he said, "but you never wanted to follow. Now you will see what it means to follow humanity in war." His words were not a promise of protection. They were a declaration of something else, something that made even the strongest leaders uneasy. Meanwhile, at the edge of the Orion Arm, the first true gathering took place. Humanity's fleets assembled near a dying star, where the light was weak and shadows stretched across the void. From small fighters to colossal carriers, the human war machines stood ready. The ships formed patterns like ancient formations, moving with precision that no alien fleets could match. The Altheron watched this movement with interest. Their commanders believed it was a bluff. They told their soldiers that humans were proud but weak, clever but untested. They claimed the peace had softened even humans. "They smile," the Altheron leader told his army, "because they do not know what war truly means." But the soldiers who faced humans directly told a different story. Scouts who saw human eyes through their ship cameras described something terrifying. They said the smiles were not of pride or ignorance. They were the smiles of predators, the same expression animals carried before striking. Across the galaxy, fear deepened. Small empires wondered if they should surrender to humanity before surrendering to the Altheron. Traders refused to enter human-controlled space, afraid of what they might see. Some worlds even prayed, not to gods, but to humanity itself, and still humanity did not fire a single shot. Instead, they tested their engines, their shields, their weapons. Massive drills took place in silence. Enemy scouts who came too close were erased without a trace. But there was no open battle yet. Humanity waited, and no one knew why. The storm grew louder with every passing day. On Earth, the people spoke a phrase that spread across every human colony. Every human ship. 3,000 years they slept, but we stayed awake. It became a chant, a rhythm of war, carried through radio waves, whispered in training halls, carved into the hulls of ships. The Altheron grew restless. They wanted to crush humanity quickly, to prove to the galaxy that no species could resist them. Their fleets gathered, preparing for the strike that would change everything. They were eager, confident, hungry, but confidence is often blindness. As the alien fleets approached the borders of human space, the storm was ready. Human ships powered their weapons. Shadows turned into fire. The galaxy, trembling in fear, would soon see what humanity's smile truly meant. The storm had gathered. The first strike was near. The first strike, the galaxy held its breath. For weeks, the Altheron fleets had marched across star systems, burning colonies, enslaving races, and proving that peace was only an illusion. But when they reached the borders of human space, something happened that no one expected. The stars fell silent. Altheron ships advanced, their weapons glowing, confident that they would tear through another weak frontier. Yet on their scanners, they saw shapes, giant, motionless shadows waiting in the void. Human warships, dozens at first, then hundreds, then thousands. They did not move. They did not signal. They floated like statues carved into the darkness, patient and watchful. The Altheron commander, proud and ruthless, laughed. To him it was a sign of weakness. "They do not dare fire," he told his officers. They hide behind their silence, but his second-in-command felt something colder. He looked at the human formation and whispered, Predators wait in silence too. The first Altheron ships crossed the border. For a moment, nothing happened. Then with a single coded signal, the human fleet came alive. Engines roared, shields flared, and weapons locked on targets. The darkness lit up with power never seen before in the galaxy. The first strike was not small. It was a storm unleashed all at once. Human battleships fired weapons that twisted space itself. Beams cut through enemy armor like paper. Explosions ripped through the void, tearing entire Altheron cruisers apart before they could even respond. The Altheron had fought wars for thousands of years. They had faced countless enemies, but never had they seen destruction like this. Human weapons were not just powerful, they were designed to terrify. Missiles did not simply explode, they split ships into burning fragments. Cannons did not just fire, they tore holes in space so wide that enemy squadrons vanished into nothingness. The galaxy watched in shock as transmissions leaked. Scouts and spies sent recordings of the battle across the stars. Billions of eyes saw human fleets moving like one mind. They did not fight with chaos or panic. Every maneuver was perfect, every strike precise. It was not war. It was art, painted in fire and silence. The Altheron tried to counterattack. Their ships formed walls of steel. Their fighters swarmed like angry insects, but nothing worked. Human fleets shifted and reshaped, cutting through defenses with impossible speed. One alien officer shouted, "It is like they knew our tactics before we even used them." Perhaps they did. For 3,000 years of peace, aliens had forgotten the study of war. They erased books. They shut down academies. They called strategy an old curse. But humans never forgot. They read every word, studied every tactic, trained every generation. They remembered that war always returns. And when it did, they would be ready. Now the galaxy understood the smile. On the battlefield, the Altheron flagship finally realized the truth. The commander who once mocked humanity now saw his fleets breaking apart. His pride shattered as he screamed orders, but his words meant nothing. His ships fell one by one, swallowed by the storm, and still the humans smiled. Reports from survivors spoke of it. Human captains with calm faces, eyes cold, lips curved into small smiles, as if each destroyed enemy ship was not chaos, but confirmation. Confirmation that everything they had prepared for was real. That war had finally returned, and they were home in it. The battle ended in less than 3 hours. Entire Altheron fleets were destroyed, their wreckage drifting like blackened bones across space. Humanity lost ships too, but their losses were tiny compared to the devastation they unleashed. When the last Altheron vessel tried to flee, humanity let it escape. They could have destroyed it easily, but they wanted it to return. They wanted it to carry a message, and the message was fear. Across the galaxy, silence followed the first strike. Leaders who once doubted humanity now whispered to each other. Was this the beginning of salvation, or the beginning of something worse? For humanity did not fight like defenders. They did not fight like saviors. They fought like conquerors. The first strike was over, but everyone knew it was only the beginning. The storm had broken. Now it would spread. The smile of humanity, the galaxy could not understand it. The recordings of the first strike spread to every star, every world, every ruler. People watched in silence as human fleets turned the Altheron armada into fire and wreckage. Yet what haunted them most was not the weapons. It was the faces. The humans smiled not a smile of joy, not laughter. It was a small, quiet curve of the lips, a calm expression, as if war was not a nightmare, but something they had been waiting for all their lives. To many species, war was terror. To others, it was madness. But to humans, it looked like something else entirely. It looked like recognition. Like an old friend had finally returned. On alien news broadcasts, analysts argued for hours. Some said it was arrogance. Others said it was insanity. But a few voices whispered the truth that everyone feared. They smile, one alien scholar said, because they are certain. They are certain they will win. That thought spread like poison. If it was true, then humanity was more dangerous than the Altheron. An enemy who fought with rage could be broken. But an enemy who fought with certainty, with calm, with a smile, how could anyone defeat them? In the wreckage fields, where the first strike ended, alien survivors told their stories. One Altheron pilot, captured after ejecting from his ruined fighter, was questioned by the council. His words chilled even his interrogators. "They did not chase me," he said, voice trembling. "They could have destroyed me, but they let me drift. One of their ships passed close enough that I saw the captain through the glass." He looked at me, and he smiled. Not cruel, not mocking. Just certain that I was already dead. After that, rumors grew. Entire colonies whispered that humanity carried death in their eyes. Some even claimed that human soldiers trained to smile in battle to unnerve their enemies. Whether true or not, the fear worked. Meanwhile, the Altheron licked their wounds. Their empire was furious, humiliated by their defeat. They had never been beaten so quickly, so completely. But pride does not die easily. The Altheron gathered more fleets, swearing vengeance, yet deep inside, even their commanders hesitated. They could still see the images. Human ships cutting through their strongest fleets, humans smiling as their empire burned. Inside human space, life moved differently. Children were not crying in fear. They trained. Families spoke calmly about duty. Soldiers prepared with discipline, not panic. Humanity had lived 3,000 years waiting for this, and now they moved like a machine, every person a part of the storm. On Earth, leaders spoke to their people not with desperate pleas, but with steady words. "The galaxy has woken from its dream," they said. "We have always been awake. Now it is time to show them why." The galaxy could not decide whether this was salvation or the birth of a new terror. Small empires sent envoys, begging humanity for protection. Some offered alliances, others offered surrender. The council itself debated whether to place humanity in command of all defense. But many feared what would happen if humans took that power. Would they stop the Altheron, or would they continue past them? The smiles gave no answer. On the next battlefield, when the Altheron struck again, with twice the number of ships, humanity was waiting. The fighting was brutal, stars lit with endless fire. And again, the humans fought with precision, their calm never breaking. Captured transmissions revealed their voices. Steady, cold, focused. No shouting, no panic, only the rhythm of strategy. And when victory came, the same quiet smiles. The galaxy realized something terrifying. Humanity was not enjoying war. They were comfortable in it. Where others saw chaos, humans saw order. Where others saw an end, humans saw a beginning. One alien general, watching the battles, said softly to himself, "They are not smiling at us. They are smiling at war itself." And he was right. For humans, war was not fear. War was memory. It was in their stories, their history, their very blood. 3,000 years of peace had not erased it. It had sharpened it. While others forgot, humanity remembered. And now, the galaxy was learning the price of forgetting. The smile of humanity spread like a shadow. Every species, every ruler, every soldier who faced them carried that image back to their worlds. The image of a human captain, calm and certain, lips curved slightly upward, eyes cold with purpose. The Altheron swore they would wipe that smile from the galaxy. But deep inside, even they began to wonder, what if the smile could not be erased? What if it was the last thing the galaxy would ever see? The war was far from over, but already the galaxy feared not just the weapons of humanity. They feared the meaning behind the smile, and the storm only grew darker. The last war, the galaxy had seen battles before. It had seen empires rise and fall, fleets clash, and worlds burn. But what humanity began in the wake of the first strike was different. This was not a battle. This was something larger. This was the last war, the Altheron prepared with fury. They gathered every fleet they still possessed, pulling ships from their core worlds, from hidden arsenals, from the edges of forgotten space. Their leaders shouted that victory was still possible. They told their soldiers that humans were only flesh and blood, that their smiles were tricks, that their weapons could be broken, but their words were filled with cracks. Beneath the pride, the Altheron trembled. They remembered the first strike, the storm of fire, the calm human faces. And fear does not vanish. It hides and it waits. Humanity did not wait. From Earth to the furthest colonies, every factory, every shipyard, every station worked like a single heartbeat. War machines flowed into space in endless lines. Docks opened, releasing ships so massive that they cast shadows across moons. Fighters swarmed like flocks of steel birds, each one sharp, each one ready. Humanity had always been preparing for this, and now their full strength rose into the stars. The Council begged them to share command, to build a united defense. Humanity refused. They did not want defense. They wanted victory, and they would achieve it on their own terms. The final meeting between the human commander and the Council was remembered in 1,000 worlds. When asked what humanity wanted, the commander gave a single answer. An end. Not a treaty. Not a pause. An end. Those words echoed across the galaxy like thunder. When the Altheron fleets finally met the human armada, the stars themselves seemed to shake. The battlefield stretched across light years, ships vanishing into the void and returning as fire. Waves of energy clashed, tearing apart the fabric of space. Planets nearby cracked under the pressure of weapons, never meant to be used near worlds. The Altheron fought with fury, with the strength of an ancient empire. But humans fought with something else: patience, memory, certainty. Their fleets moved like dancers, their strikes like precision blades. The Altheron tried traps, but the humans had already seen them. They tried overwhelming numbers, but humans cut them apart, piece by piece, again and again. Transmissions from the battlefield carried the same image: human faces, calm and cold, smiling in the storm. The smile became the symbol of the war. To allies, it was hope. To enemies, it was terror. Days turned to weeks, and the Altheron bled. Their fleets shrank, their soldiers broke, their leaders screamed in desperation. Finally, they retreated to their core worlds, hoping to defend their throne systems. Humanity followed without pause. The last battles were not fights, they were executions. Human fleets surrounded Altheron planets, striking with precision, breaking defenses before they could fire. Cities fell in silence. Fortresses crumbled in seconds. The Altheron, once the oldest and strongest empire, were reduced to ruins in less than a year, and still, humanity did not stop. The galaxy realized the truth too late. Humanity had not fought to defend peace. They had fought to erase the illusion of peace. 3,000 years of silence had been a dream, and humanity woke the galaxy from it. Their smile was not just victory, it was the signal that the age of peace was dead. When the last Altheron fortress fell, the human commander spoke to the galaxy. His words were carried through every channel, every screen, every ship. Peace was a lie. You believed it because it was easy. We knew it would end. We prepared while you slept. Now the lie is finished. This is the last war because after this, only one truth will remain. Humanity does not fear war. Humanity is war. The message ended and silence followed. The galaxy trembled. Some worlds cried in relief, believing the humans would protect them. Others shook in terror, knowing protection could turn into rule. All of them, however, remembered the same thing: the smile. That calm, certain smile that meant the storm was not over, that it could return whenever humanity wished. The Altheron Empire was gone. But something greater had risen in its place, and as the galaxy looked to the future, one truth became clear. The last war had not ended war. It had given it a new face. The face of humanity.